organs of the cat. If we go to the cheek, the big gland right behind the ear is called the parotid gland. Here's your parotid duct. Above it will be the facial nerve. Down here is the submandibular or submaxillary, depending upon the book. And there's the sublingual. The molar gland is going to be at the corner of the mouth. So those are all your salivary glands. We then come to the mouth. We have the hard palate at the front, the soft palate at the back. The tongue, which is held in place by the lingual frenulum, is made of three muscles: the genioglossa, the styloglossa, and the hypoglossa. It is covered by papillae and spines. Okay. The front teeth are called the incisors. The next ones are called the canines. Behind that are premolars. Behind that are molars. When we get down to the throat, we look for our box formed by our jugulars. There. From here to here is the larynx, the voice box. This part up here, which is going to be more cartilage, is called the thyroid cartilage. The meaty part down there is going to be called the cricoid cartilage. On the side, if we look, we might find a small little gland called the thyroid gland, right there, that little booger. This white tube coming down is our trachea. Behind it, we might see like a flattened rubber band, which would be the esophagus. We now go down into the pleural cavity, the thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity goes from the chest down to the diaphragm, encompassed by the ribs. The shiny stuff here is called parietal pleura, because it's on the walls. The shiny stuff on the organs themselves are called the visceral pleura. Cat has 3 lungs on each side: anterior, also called superior, intermediate or middle, and inferior or posterior. So this is the left side, that is the right. We'll see in the middle the heart. The heart is surrounded by a sac called the pericardial sac. Above it is a gland called the thymus. It'll wither when it gets older and become fatty. This dividing muscle right here is called the diaphragm. It separates thoracic cavity from abdominal pelvic. The thoracic cavity is held, the diaphragm rather, is connected to the liver by 3 very thin ligaments. Do not frickin' break them. They're right here. The first one is the round ligament. Behind that is the falciform ligament. And far to the back is called the coronary ligament. You won't really see them, just know them in their order: round, falciform, coronary. The liver is a large organ, roughly on the right-hand side of the body. It's divided into a left half and a right half with lobes. Left half is easy. You have your left medial, that's this one, your left lateral. This large C-like one is the right medial. We have the right lateral, and then the little tail, which is called the caudate. Now this becomes really fun. Ooh, you've got a big gallbladder. The green represents the gallbladder. It's that sac right there. It's full of bile. The duct coming straight out of it is going to be called the cystic duct. If you look carefully, and I'm just blindly going with this, there's going to be a hepatic duct. Together they form the common bile duct, which then goes down to this tube, and you can see the green right there, that's bile. There's a small nub right there called the ampullae of Vater. That's where the bile duct is going to come into the duodenum. Okay? Don't play too much with your liver, it'll get a problem. Here's your Tumpkins, your stomach. You have your cardiac portion at the top. The fundus is the dome. The pylorus is down here. You have your greater curvature, your lesser curvature. You will have to open up your stomach and pull out the contents to see the rugae, which are the ruffles in the middle. This large flappy thing is the greater omentum. It's attached to the greater curvature. This little piece right here is called the lesser omentum, and it's attached to the lesser curvature. This thing that looks like a dog's tongue is the spleen. So we're now in the abdominal pelvic cavity. Shiny stuff on this walls is the parietal peritoneum. Shiny stuff on the organs is called the visceral peritoneum. To find our intestines, we lift up our greater omentum, tuck it nicely, take all the intestines and pull them to the left. Okay? We then move the first one back. It'll always work unless you've screwed up your cat. That first one is going to be the duodenum, the first part of your small intestine. Next to it, right in there, is your pancreas. The duct, which you can see is a thin white line running down it, is the pancreatic duct, also known as the duct of Wilson. The middle part of the intestines is your jejunum. To find the ileum, the last part, it goes into the large intestine. Here's how you do it. Everyone goes over. First intestine is the duodenum. Second thing, if you haven't messed up, and I think you have, is going to be the large intestine. He's a little twisted. Don't twist him. Is that it? That's your large intestine. So in my right hand is your large intestine. So right here, where my finger's touching now, that's the ileum coming into the large intestine, the last part of the small intestine. Here's your large intestine. This is your ascending colon. You can see the little bump at the end, Pope's nose, that's called the cecum. If it was a human, it would have an appendix. This doesn't. We come up the ascending, all right? We're going to hit a flexure. Flexure means a bend. Transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, out to the rectum. The stuff that holds this all together is called mesentery. Got it? Good. As far as your urinary system goes, let's look on the right. Here's your kidney. There should be a white line. Might be that. Or is it this one? This one. This white duct coming down. No, that's your vena cava. That's your white line right there. You need to clean this out. This white line. That's your ureter. The ureter comes down. It goes to the urinary bladder. You need to clean out in front of the urinary bladder. And you'll see a tube coming out of that called the urethra. Okay? That leads out to the outside. You have a little boy. Okay, so we have penis, testicles. Right in here, if you clean out, should be your spermatic cord. Okay? This little white piece of dental floss right there, that's the vas deferens coming in. Now, with blood vessels, we have not done the chest yet, but let's look at our below the abdominal. Move everyone, in this case, over to the left. And again, we were cleaning. We're going to see right here. This big blue is going to be called your inferior vena cava. Coming out of the kidney is the renal. Above it is the adrenal. Coming off of it should be a little thing coming down, right down the sides, which is going to be called your genital. We come down. Right here, you can see coming right across. There's a blue one right there. Iliolumbar. It's arteries and veins. We now hit the groin. It's going to be a little difficult. If we clean this out better and pick up, cut the wall, we have at first the common iliac. If we look really deep, it's going to be hard with the bladder and the intestines going out. There'll be the internal iliac and then the external iliac. We're now outside the body. The darker one here is going to be called the femoral. It cuts down to the deep muscle, goes behind the knee as the popliteal, and then comes down the thigh as the saphenous. As far as your arteries go, it's the same roughly thing. Here is, if we clean off the splanchnic nerves from the plexi, we have our abdominal aorta, renal, adrenal, iliolumbar, external iliac, and you will see the internal iliac in there further. We then again have the deep femoral, the femoral, popliteal, saphenous. Up here, we were cleaning, and you should see 1, 2. The first one up here is the celiac, which goes to form the gastric, the splenic, hepatic. The next one becomes the superior mesenteric, which goes to the top of the intestines. And down here, if you pull the intestines aside, right there, that is your inferior mesenteric, which goes up to your colic, goes down to your hemorrhoidal. And that is all we have. So we have to work up here later.